Well, before we start, uh, Carson is going to go over some rules and how we want to get these all started, get the meeting started. So Carson's going to come up. It's going to talk for a second.
A wizard to explain to you to wear a sheep.
Exactly.
Right.
All right. Hello. Good afternoon. So for most meetings like this, there is a massive rule book called Robert's Rules of Order. That's usually how a lot of these official meetings will go. If you ever watch clips in Congress, they'll be saying motion this, motion that, etc. I'm going to teach you how to actually do that today. So the first thing, if you look at your little thing, the easiest possible thing you will ever learn from this is that cute little dinosaur. That's it. That's the safest thing. But first, we're just going to talk about the privileged motions that's up there. They're not usually that important. You can use them, it's not always required. If you look at the rank, that's the rank is specified to in the order of which they earn precedence. So if you have a main motion on the floor and someone is interested in recessing, the main motion takes precedent over the recess always. That's just it's on there as 11 for a reason. It's not that important. But if you do have, say, an adjournment or a recess on there, the recess always takes precedent. So it's basically just a one beats two, two beats three, three beats seven, etc. kind of a thing. So jumping down here to the bring back motions, we're not going to worry about those. So don't even look at them. You can cross them out, X them out, whatever. If you want to look at them at all, they're interesting, but for an organization like this one, they're not really going to be that necessary. So don't worry about it. Incidental motions, there is appeals, point of orders, and requests for information. So usually what you would say for that is, let's say Alex talks super fast and Max has a question and he's like, what just happened? So he can go, point of order, Mr. Chairman, and then ask the question about a clarification. He can also make a point of clarification, which is the exact same as a point of order, except it's a little less formal. So if he had a specific question about, say, a ruling, that Alex might have made, then he can just say, point of order, Mr. Chairman, what the heck, kind of a deal. But if it's a point of clarification, he can talk about anything on there, whether that's business or not business related. Pretty simple. Then there is an appeal. So if Alex rules on something or the assembly votes on something that a member might not have liked, they can do an appeal of which it will go first to Alex and then it can be appealed again to the full assembly. Usually it's just a simple majority kind of a thing in either the positive or the negative. That doesn't really matter. It probably won't happen. If it does happen, talk to me first, and then I can talk you through it, and I can probably find an easier way for you to get your point addressed. Then there's, of course, the main motion. That's how we usually discuss business in a forum such as this one. So if you have any business related options that you want to bring up during our new business section of this meeting today, you would make a motion by I move to address blah, 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 blah. And please make sure to always have it in writing ahead of time. It makes things a lot easier for our secretary, as well as myself and the president, because he will have to restate the question before we get into any discussion of it. So it's just super easier to just have your motions written out for yourself. And if you aren't technically sure how to write it, it's really pretty simple. It's just I move and then a complete sentence. If it's out of order, I will let you know, but most of the time it's really vague. So any kind of emotion can pass through there. It's pretty easy. There's postpone indefinitely. If you don't like a main motion, you can just say, hey, let's just postpone this and just get rid of it. That is just once again a simple majority kind of a deal. It does take precedence over pretty much everything except for a main motion. So if you're not liking the business that we're talking about, you can just postpone it indefinitely. It's a rarely used parliamentary procedure. It's not something that we usually would consider, and especially groups such as this size. Most people will use it in Congress. You see that a lot there, or other large legislative bodies for most national and state governments. But if we do want to get that fancy here, we can do that here too. Then there's the amendments, etc. You can amend motions. That has to happen during the discussion period. It can't happen while another main motion is on the floor or any privilege motions. It's kind of weird. But if you want to make an amendment to a motion, let's say we have a motion about how dogs are better than cats, and someone wants to amend that to say dogs are super better than cats. You bring that up in the discussion, kind of a thing there. And maybe someone wants to do a secondary amendment of we should just get rid of cats. That's the second amendment. And then we can discuss that amendment as well.
Definitely.
I move to.
Well, I moved.
Yes, never. You always say in the positive, never in the negative. You'll always say I move, never I motion. It's just a weird thing that some 18th century general decided was weird. So that's how we follow it. Then there's referring to committees. I would assume that this body will operate several committees at some point, hopefully. So if we do have a topic that we want to go over, like we were talking about the buses earlier, that could be a committee in here of which you would simply say, I move that we address the refurbishment of our bus system to a infrastructure committee or something like that. And then it would be debated that way. You can also add amendments to that motion, etc. There's also postpone to a certain time, similar to the postpone indefinitely. The postponing in time is just a simple, we need to focus on other business right now, so let's postpone this and table it. So I table the motion, blah, 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 until blah. And then it's pretty much just a simple majority from there as well. Then there's limited or extending times on debate. Most of the time, in terms of discussion, each person gets 3 minutes recognized by the chair. So Isaiah wants to talk really badly about how cats don't deserve to be eliminated and this, that, and the other thing. So he gets 3 minutes. And if someone else also wants to talk about why cats shouldn't be eliminated, but someone wants to talk about why dogs are superior, the person that wants to talk about dogs, even if they stand up second, gets precedence always because you have to balance the debate kind of a thing. But it's usually three per person and usually 3 rounds for each. So back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And you can extend the limit. Let's say Isaiah is giving a very impassioned speech and he goes over that 3 minutes. Alex can decide whether or not to call that as a motion, or if everyone is just enraptured by how he's speaking, he can just do what's called a unanimous consent. He doesn't have to say anything for that at all, but basically it's just, oh, no one wants to change this. Okay, we'll just extend it a couple minutes until he's done. Pretty simple stuff there. Unanimous consent, as a little tirade for you, is available for everything. If it's like a basic motion of, hey, college students shouldn't blah, 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 and everyone's like, yay, we don't need to actually go through the motions of that motion, and it can just be unanimous consent. Pretty simple. Then there's table. It's very similar again to postponing, except this has to always be picked up at the next meeting or else it is out of order. And then there's a bunch of mumbo jumbo that we don't need to talk about in that too. But motioning to table, pretty easy stuff. It's also just a majority, as you can see on there. It's not debatable, it's not amendable. You just kind of go, it gets tabled and you bring it up at the next session. There's also, because I skipped it, previous question or call the question. That is usually just for Alex or the presiding chair. That basically means, in layman's terms, it means we're putting it to a vote to the whole assembly. So you can cross that out and write it however you want to, but it's not really putting a question. It's putting a question back to all of you on how we want to vote for it. And usually how votes will go is it's pretty simple. You can stand up, you can raise your hand. We can do the yays and nays, which is just saying yay or nay, or we can do a roll call vote for most official things, of which myself and Isaiah, as the sergeant at arms, or Josiah, I'm so sorry. You look just like my friend Isaiah. But so we will actually go through the roll and call everyone who is present, and they will say yay or nay from there, and that's how we'll officiate it. So basic stuff there. There is questions of privilege. If you have to leave or anything like that, it is mandatory in most government circles that it is a motion that you have to go through. It's a point of personal privilege. So you would say, Mr. Chairman, point of personal privilege, and then you can say why you have to leave, or you just have to say, I need to be excused, and then it's up to Alex whether or not that is determined for you. Most of the time, it's just a yeah, sure, go for it. It's really an informality, but it is mandatory. We don't have to do that here if we don't want to. Personally, I hate this rule because I think it's stupid, and not really for the modern era of telephones that are, in our pockets and not in another room. So easier that way. And then there's just simple calls for order of the day. If we are skipping a topic that you really want to talk about, you can call this order of the day, which is basically a Mr. Chairman, what the heck? I want to talk about this and not this right now, to which the assembly, if they want to, can just say no. That's really about it. I know it says on there at the request of one member under the vote kind of a thing, but that's not actually true. It's a vote in the negative, meaning that for it to actually pass, the assembly either doesn't vote on it or doesn't have enough votes in the negative for it. So pretty simple. I wouldn't expect that to come up in this meeting or anything like that, but if it ever does, you do have that right as well with the call and order. Uh, then there's recess. I know Josiah was talking about that earlier about recessing immediately before we started. But that's just a simple majority kind of a thing. And then the secretary would note down at what time we recess and then what time we gavel back in. Then there's adjournment. That's the simple ending the meeting kind of a thing. So at the very end of today, we have a lovely little adjournment slide. So you'll just say, Mr. Chairman, I move we adjourn this meeting. And then secretary will record the time, and the vote for it is just a simple yay or nay. Easy stuff. And then there's a fixed time which to adjourn. That's dumb. Don't look at that. I don't know why it's there. But yeah, that's it. If you do have any questions, comments, concerns, or what just happened with that, it's all pretty simple and I can explain it to you better from there. But while we go through the meeting today, feel free to try and use some of this if you want to, even if it's just random claims. I'll be able to test you all and give you some better feedback that way. So, amazing. Thank you.
All right, then we can start with the real meeting, I guess. You see a QR code. If your student organization requires you to be here, you can sign in there. If you just want to sign in, you can use that link. The link will also be there at the end of the presentation. So if you don't do it right now, don't worry, it will be there. I'll give everybody a minute to. So yeah, if they want to do it now. Alrighty. Seems like most everybody is done. So I will continue with the presentation. All right, so the agenda today, call to order, we did that. Approval of the minutes. The last assembly meeting was last semester, so we don't really have like the minutes for that, but normally for next meeting, we will approve the minutes of this meeting. But I just want to have that in there. So we're gonna have some committee reports. We're gonna have new business from our side, and then after that, if you guys have anything you want to mention or bring up, that would be the best time. And after that, if nothing else, if you have nothing else, we're going to adjourn this meeting. That's how the normal approval of the minutes would look like. You can see the date of the last meeting, but because that was so long ago, we're not going to do that this time. Reports, committee. I'll start with the Budget and Planning Committee. The Budget and Planning Committee met yesterday for the first time this semester. We voted the chairman in, or chairwoman, I guess, but nothing else was really discussed. The next Budget and Planning Committee will be open to the public meeting on September 25th at 10 a.m. The Zoom link is right here. Don't worry, you don't have to remember it. There is an event on Trying to Connect that I already put up, already approved. If you want to join that, you can register there, or you can just join the Zoom meeting through there. It is open to the public. If you have any questions, that will probably be the best way to best time to ask them. Kanika Bush is going to be there. She's the CFO, and Steven, the provost, will also be there. So yeah, those are the perfect people to ask. Yeah, the strategic plan is going to be on their committee, and as again, it will be open to everybody on the campus. So yeah, it would be great if you're interested. That would be a perfect time to join. All right, they're going to talk about ACBC. Zach is going to talk about that first.
Hello, everyone. For the SABC report, there was $11,833 allocated for the early fall events, which were for the first 4 weeks of school. The first SABC meeting was this week, where we talked about fall 2023 budgets and also reviewed the budget request. And then there was also $5,250 that were allocated to 9 student groups. And then lastly, Mindy will send a link to the guidelines and training videos in the chat. Thank you.
All right, student affairs. The student affairs committee met on Tuesday. We also voted in a new chair. We would talk there in that committee. We would talk about student organizations that want to be approved. And the thing that I brought up, that we mentioned in our Senate meetings, is that we would like email addresses for student organizations. We will work on that. That will be on in the next meeting. It's on the agenda. So just wanted to inform everybody that that is something we are working on in that committee. New business, we're going to go into introduction, some initial SGA goals, and then it would be your time to bring up something if you would want to. Okay. We're going to go through everybody who is on the or in SGA this year. They're just going to stand up and they're going to introduce themselves so people know who they are. I'm going to start with me. My name is Alexander Oywall. I am the president this year. I am on the Student Affairs Committee and on the Budget Planning Committee. I am involved in campus through the Trident Football Club, the Chess Club, and I'm an RA at Elkhart.
My name is Max Hood. I'm the vice president, and I sit on. My name is Max Hood. I'm the vice president of SGA. I sit on the Information Technology Committee as well as WARSA, which is Recruitment, Admissions, Retention, and Student Financial Aid Committee. Other involvements include University Program Board, SABC, which is our Student Activities Budget Committee, as well as the Intercampus Student Council.
I'm Zachary Lenz. I'm the treasurer. I am part of the SABC committee and the Research and Libraries committee, and I am involved in retrieval.
All right, my name is Jay Lynch. I'm the SGA senator. I'm on the administrative evaluation committee. I'm also part of the University Program Board, SABC, and
hello everyone, my name is Monica Bruner. I'm an SGA senator. I'm part of the Faculty Service and Teaching Awards Committee. I'm involved with the Mississippi Honors College, CCJ USA, ASUM, and the Office of Student Involvement.
Abby is not here today, but Abby Crow is also a senator, and she's on the Physical Facilities, Space, and General Service Committee.
Well, you already saw me. I'm Carson. Again, for those who don't know, I'm an SGA senator in the parliamentarian for this body. I'm on the Rules of Bylaws Committee, and I'm on the Curriculum and Instruction. I'm involved in the PSA Political Science Academy and ASIC Associations of Concerned Singles. And
Hello everyone, my name is I'm on the IT. My home is radio.
Anya should be on Zoom if you want to introduce yourself there. If not, we can skip that.
Yeah, I don't mind. I'm Anya Newton. I'm a SGA senator. I am on the Student Affairs Committee, and I am also a TRIO scholar.
Matthew, I'm a SGA senator on the Student Affairs Committee and the Recruitment Division Transition to Financial Aid Committee, Prism, CPO, Alpha.
Hello, I'm Allie, SGA senator, part of the Curriculum Instruction Committee, involved in the Political Science Academy, ASUM, the Auxiliary Radio, and Religious Studies. I'm Haley. I'm an SGA senator, and I'm on the faculty teaching and service awards committee. I'm the president of the Criminology and Criminal Justice and Undergraduate Student Association, and I'm a part of the Political Science.
Reese is also not available to join. Also not over Zoom. I thought she would, but yes, Reese is senator, and she's on the Budget and Planning Committee.
Hi,
Josiah Ayers, currently serving in arts. Don't ask me what I do, since I don't know. I'm still working on that. If I tell you to get someone, you get someone. Ayers, yeah. Apparently I'm allowed to. So don't make trouble. I'm on the Student Affairs Committee. I'm also editor of Brain Stew within the Honors College and graphic design intern there as well. Also an RA.
Logan, the General Senator on the Academic Advisory Committee. I work in the Economic Resource Center as a tutor. I'm part of PLIXA and is
Hello, I'm Grace. I'm the Assembly Speaker. I still don't really know what I do. I'm also a senator though. I'm on the Student Affairs Committee. I'm a part of the Political Science Academy, ASUM, also Radio. I'm in Honors College Peer Mentor, PRISM, Alpha Lambda Delta, and the Support with Chess Club.
Grace, can you just pronounce your last name for me?
The American pronunciation is Desjardins.
But your pronunciation was yeah, it's the proper way.
It's like Desjardins. I don't know.
Is a Lucci here. All right. Well, she's also senator and she's also on the IT committee. And then we have Sarah Muriel, who was not able to attend today. She is also a senator. Trey is also a senator, as well as Tannen, and Tori is our secretary of this semester. All right, we're gonna go over to SGA plans. One of the things we want are outdoor recreation spaces, or I guess the executive board is really for this. We want the next step that we're going to do. We talked with the rec center about if that is possible, where there are spaces. We want to have a request for proposal to do a feasibility study of select few outdoor spaces and what could be done with them and what kind of outdoor recreation spaces could be added to the campus. Point of order.
Point of order. Alex, do we not have outdoor recreation spaces? I'm unfamiliar.
We do not have any that are open for the students. You might have seen some next to the Mark Twain building. Those are only for athletics, those. You might know that there's behind the tennis courts, there's some space where there's mostly hill. The rec center does use them. However, they have to ask the athletic department if they can use it. So it's not really theirs to use. And we would like to have some that are purely for students that are UMSL student first, that are not athletic, can use them wherever they want, and we kind of have to see it. No, they are for students, and students could use them free of charge. So they're just there for students.
Like, point of order. So outdoor spaces, what does that include? Like outdoor basketball courts?
That would include sand volleyball courts, pickleball courts, tennis courts, and a multi big field. So that's for all type of things. That would hopefully we could see where they go. There are some initial ideas, but you would have to see if those are feasible or not. But that's where, yes.
Point of order.
Yes.
In this meeting, did the recreation center bring up like any ways to allocate money like for this? Like what type of grant or like where the funds would have to come from?
They would have to come from the university. They do not have any funds because they do not get funds directly, because students who go to the university and are enrolled full-time or are degree seeking don't have to pay extra for the rec center. That's paid through tuition. So they don't actually make any money on themselves. They get money through the university. So they would have to find somewhere to take the money out. But it's at the moment, first try in a field, and then if we have ideas that are feasible, then they'll look for the money. But there's no allocated money for it at the moment.
So it has to be a reallocation.
Presumably, yes.
Point of order.
Yeah. That is a different, that was the ACBC committee. But the what? What are you talking about? Are you talking about the shuttle? We'll get to that. Just okay, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Anything else?
point of order.
Yeah.
Do you have any specific locations in mind at the moment, or is it just?
There are ideas, but there's nothing like concrete because there's like not really space. The rec center would like them to be around the rec center, but as you can see, like they wouldn't fit a big field there. But stuff like a pickleball court or a volleyball court would fit at certain spaces, but those are just ideas for the moment. There's nothing concrete. That's what the proposals for. So you can have real ideas that work for everybody.
Look,
Yes.
so let's say we hypothetically get the outdoor space.
Yes.
Would it open to the public and the community as well?
That I don't know. I know they would be open. I talked to with the rec center, they'd be open for any students. I don't know if they would be open just like for free to use for the community, but that would be something that I could talk to them about. All right, I'll go to the next point. More student input in the 5-year plan. The chancellor talked at the address of the university about the plan about how the campus is going to look in the next 5 years. I don't really know exactly how that looks like. She said stuff that looks totally different from the last update that I had. So our goal is to meet with the chancellor and find out more about how exactly that's going to look like, where the money's going to come from for that, and when the timeline is for stuff that is going to be built or going to be renovated. Shuttle improvements. The shuttle at the moment works in a straight line. It goes all the way to one point and then drives the exact way back. I think that is very inefficient, and also I don't like the way the route is. It doesn't cover all of the campus. I think that could be better. I would also like a better schedule that people know exactly when the shuttle is going to be where, and you don't have to rely on an app to track the shuttle. Yeah.
Each bus, they go around certain order,
Mhm.
for the south, certain. Other services too.
Mhm.
Wow.
What was the last thing?
Let's see the shuttle, but they also go each route, one to south, like every day.
Yeah, they do.
That's a lot of time.
They do, yeah.
They stop, and they the weekends.
They don't. They don't drive on the weekends. They do the shopping.
Again, the shop.
Yeah.
They say.
Yeah, once a month. All right. We're gonna have Josiah come up here and talk about some more plans of SGA.
Give me a second here. I'm with Tim. I chose to be a little more respectful. So one of the big issues that I've been facing at my time here at Upsall is that a lot of my classes conflict, and there's only like one in-person class for each of my classes. And I'm a comp sci major, so I'm basically taking all comp sci and math classes. And the way the math and comp sci departments are set up is they usually don't conflict with one another, but I came in with an extra credit of math. And basically, instead of being staggered, my classes ended up being all at the same time every single semester. So I had to choose between taking comp sci online or math online. And that was stupid. I hate online classes. I never want to do that again. And so I'm looking to reach out to the comp sci and math departments about getting more in-person classes scheduled. It sounds like the big issue is that ever since COVID, these departments have been really hesitant about going back to in-person classes because they're like, oh, we did online. Students love online. It's fine. We'll just save a bunch of money by not hiring professors and shove them all into online classes. The one I'm in right now, it has 2 online sections and 1 in-person section. So there's about 80 students online and only about 30-ish students in person. And I think that is absurd that we have more students kind of forced into online classes and not having the choice to go to the in-person classes because it was full. And I'll stop about that. But talk to departments, get more in-person classes. I feel comfortable handling math and comp sci, but I've also heard support for talking to the education and psych departments about this. If you want to reach out to your department head, talk to me, talk to Alex, talk to your department head yourself, but we want to get started on that. Thank you.
Yes. And then Dora is up. Oops. There you go. Dora is up next.
Here you're no kind. Yeah.
Okay, Hello, everyone. I would like to bring attention to the
Look on the camera. Yeah.
Hello, everyone. I would like to bring attention to the dead URLs and expired scholarships on the scholarship catalog of the UMSL website. So as we can see, this is a police scanner scholarship contest. And so right here it says, to apply for this opportunity, please visit the URL provided below. There is no URL provided below. However, there is a link on the main webpage, but it just leads to the company's webpage. And so whenever I search internally, there's no scholarship to be found. Also, the second one, there's no deadline listed. So we can assume that it is expired due to there's no deadline listed, and also there's nothing to be found when searched internally. And this isn't the only scholarship that has this issue. There are so many, but the ones that I researched on was the Shutterfly Computer Science Scholarship. It is outdated and has no deadline. The CG Trader Scholarship 2016. We can safely assume that it expired in 2016. But the website says that they haven't even had a scholarship since 2019. So that means it's been on our website for 4 years without any scholarship opportunity linked to it. And also the Godecker's Appliances Scholarship also expired in 2016, and there are many others. So I think that the scholarship catalog should accurately reflect the scholarship opportunities to UMSL students. Because whenever we're researching for scholarships here, we're wasting time, energy, resources, trying to figure out what financial aid we actually have. So my goal is that we will talk to the person in charge of the website, gut the expired information, and make it more accurate. Thank you.
Perfect. Going off of that, dead website links and not working websites, the UMSL website in general has a lot of dead pages, wrong links, just in general, inaccurate information. So that is something we would like to see made better, changed, and improved. Also something we talked about in our Senate meeting, something we would like to start and work on is a resource page from students for students about things that first year freshmen or just, I guess, transfer students should know about that could help them while they're here at UMSL. We have some ideas, but I thought I'd throw it out there. If you have any ideas, I guess now would be a perfect time, or if you don't want to shout it out, you can always email us. I was going to mention that later, but I can mention it as well. The sga@umsl.edu email is a perfect way to message the executive board, or if you just want to reach out to a senator who you might know, you can always do that as well.
Oh, you don't need it.
So we need a, like, yeah, especially for older students. The older students, you know, these, and there are so many of these older students, and it's not really be able to realize just, you know, logistics, you know, finding certain. What are the best parking lots to go to park at for, you know, sort of class to be, things like that, instead of having to walk so long.
If you have any ideas that you would like to see in it, feel free to email us. That would be perfect. So we have stuff because this is for students, from students. So if you have any suggestions, don't hesitate to reach out. Just
Is it about this? Yeah. Oh, then don't worry about it.
We're all worried, don't worry.
Yeah, don't worry. This is the discussion phase, so you don't really, unless like get rid of it. No, then you don't need to make a motion. You can just, you're all. I was just gonna say, what's
SGA@umsl.edu. Yeah. Or you person email us. If you look out in Outlook and type in any of our names, you can reach out to us. Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
it's good. Or it's so, I think you show those like insertion progress and so what it was for certain. So yeah, it's true.
And just information about like one thing that came to mind was, our students, like, or our students, it's like, or, like, there are certain things that, this is. Thank you.
So we're gonna come to you because you first. We'll work our way back.
I think I would just add other things, like I know I got email, I think just saying it out loud and just including information that are free to students, like when I was here, I didn't know we had free access to the Wall Street Journal, New York Journal. We get staff discounts at the training school, we work with the university, we have access to Clean Cloud, making sure, the freshmen and first year become, to help they know what resources are free to them. That's what they're.
Perfect. And you had something as well, yeah.
Oh, I was just gonna say, we just trying to give students like life hacks, or like student life hacks.
Yeah, basically, if they're here at UMSL, what is there for them that they can use that is like for them? Yes, anything really, yes. I mean, it's not more like study hacks, but more like if they're here, what resources are available for them? Like free stuff, the counseling services, I don't know, the rec center, stuff like that. Anything really, as long as it's like relevant to the university. What does the university offer that?
Are we gonna put like goals, put this like on a web page?
Yes, that is but really anything that is important for students. It wouldn't include what happens in University Meadows, but any student would have access to it. So if you live in University Meadows, it is because University Meadows does not belong to the university. It's technically privately owned. And technically anything in University Meadows in their I don't want to say cage, but anything in that does not belong to the university. So they have no say over that. Yes. Yeah, sorry.
So more like a suggestion idea, like, I know at another college, they have something like this, and to like update it and like update their regular website, they have like an intern almost.
Okay.
It's like a student or a few students who they don't get paid, but they get credit hours for like their degree, if it's like marketing or something like that, to do it. And I think that's like a good way to like get students involved and also like not have to worry about an allocation and like funding for it.
It is, yes.
What happens when I have a question that's like kind of off topic, but still on topic, like branching off of, why don't you ask me something? I want to branch off the intern idea. Like, what's our ability to hire unpaid interns?
Unpaid.
Well, maybe they're not
So-
hired then. But
I mean, if somebody wants to do something for free,
SGA.
well, if somebody wants to do something for free, they're more than welcome to reach out.
But if you like somehow take this to some sort of committee with this idea and see if there's like any way to get credit hours, because I know that that's what UMKC has. They have
Okay.
like a marketing thing where like they'll update the website and like it's like a class almost. And I know that's really difficult because that's like finding a professor and stuff like that. But I think that like if we suggest something like that, like it is beneficial. And it doesn't have to be paid, but like it can have benefits too.
Yeah, if we can offer benefits, I'm totally for that. And if UMKC does it, we should hopefully be able to do it as well, as they are a sister school. So we're gonna have to look into how exactly UMKC does it, and then we could mention it. I mean, we are on a lot of different committees, so we can mention it. We can figure out which one would be the best one to do it. Yes.
Gonna branch off that
Okay.
credit hour idea. What are the discussion? What are the chances that we could turn SGA into giving out credit hours for our governmental positions? Like, could we turn ourselves into the interns and get credit hours for being on SGA?
I don't know.
So technically in the bylaws, the officer board already gets that, sort of. You're supposed to be, it says you're supposed to be paid. I don't know if you are, but and YouTube, as far as, well, I know, right, it's considered, our bylaws are but YouTube are technically as well. You're supposed to be here for 10 hours, and I think you two are supposed to be for 3. I have no idea. The bylaws are not great, but technically they are already our interns, and then we're just supposed to be the little rats that scurry around.
Yeah. Well, I would say like that, but I don't know if like credit hours. I'm not somebody could say that's going to happen. We can look into it, but I don't want to be like, yeah, that's going to happen. But we can talk to people in the university about it who have more power than I do. So
Point of order, sorry,
Yeah.
who would we take that idea to, like, do you have any other suggestions? I don't want me to like be on the spot.
I not right at the moment. I talk. I have a meeting scheduled in the future with Tanika Bush. That might be somebody. She's pretty up high there, but she's not like in as a professor, so I don't know if she could be that, but she would be somebody who might be able to point me in the right direction or point us in the right direction. So
Yeah, you would need to talk to someone who like approves curriculum.
okay, well that's
Get that like approved.
the curriculum.
Cause so I work in office. And students come to us that are part of like a marketing class or higher education master's class and like wanna do internships. And it's pretty easy for us to work on biz and I have like sign on things. So I think we actually could explore looking into at least an internship. I just think it would have to be approved by whatever program they wanted that in. So let's chat about that later.
But then you could go through the dean then of the school possibly. So yeah, that would be the more of the college stuff and not the administration side. All right, if nobody has anything else, I will close the discussion and we'll move on. All right. The Safe Walk. The Safe Walk is a event, I'll say, that was originally hosted due to unsafe environments here on campus. We hope to do it again this year. We don't have set plans yet, but we are in the beginning of organizing that. We would hope to have the higher ups, that's chancellor, provost, everybody like that involved as well as UMSL PD. But basically, it's we walk around campus, we find unsafe places, and try to make the campus just in general a safer place for all of our students. The event would happen during the night because that's when the places are darkest and you can see the most unsafe spaces. But yes, I hope to have more updates on that on our next assembly meeting. All right. Student involvement is going to say something for a second.
Right, I'm doing my multiple roles. Hi, everybody, and hi, everybody.
Hello.
Mindy Dilly, she, her, hers are my pronouns. I'm the Associate Director of Student Involvement. Also, the SGA advisor as of like a few months ago. So we're all learning here. I appreciate you all being understanding. Very excited for the new board though. I feel like we got some good senators, some good folks in place. So I know like Matt and Dora have been with us for a while. Matthew, excuse me. So hopefully they can help steer the direction. But in my student involvement role, I just kind of wanted to share a few updates with you. If you are an officer in your Triton Connect portal, you would have gotten an email from me at like 9 o'clock last night. Grace checking her email because she registered for trunk or treat right away. I meant to send it earlier, sorry. But some of these updates were in that email. So if you're an officer in Triton Connect, you got this. We're having our annual trunk or treat coming up. It is the Saturday before Halloween, so I believe it's the 28th. The event itself is from 12 to 2, but what we're doing is we're collecting trunks, like vehicle trunks, to be there for the kiddos, the community event. It's kind of a multi-purpose one. We want to just have a service event for our community members. We are an anchor institution here in North St. Louis, so we invite all the area elementary schools and things like that. It also kind of gets some like, oh, I'm on a college campus. I could potentially come here one of these days. So it's also just kind of getting them used to the college experience. And it's also just like a fun event to do. So what we're collecting is student organizations who want to host a trunk. So kind of you all will park with your trunks and costumes and kiddos walk around. OSI is providing all of the candy. So student organizations just have to like decorate their trunk and things like that, which SABC could help fund if you submit a budget request 4 weeks in advance for that. So keep that in mind. And I know PSA already has a trunk. Delta Zeta already has a trunk, potentially Zeta Tau Alpha. So that link is for people who want to have a trunk. Yeah, do you have a question? Yeah, what's up?
So does it mean all of them here three or well come here and do candy they were on the top?
We hope so. So yeah, this is an event we do every year. I think it's the 14th annual. So it's part of our Tiny Tritons program. So if any of you have kiddos in your life, they don't have to be your actual child. They could be, but they could just be a cousin that runs around or a next door neighbor. Most of our Tiny Tritons events are, kindergarten age to about 12, but we're not going to turn people away. So if your student organization is interested, it's a pretty cheap event. It's fun. Hopefully we'll have good weather. So please register for that. I wanted to provide a few SABC tips. So SABC is the Student Activity Budget Committee. But that's a mouthful. So we throw around SABC a lot. Zach sits on that committee. Max and Jalen are actually on it, not because of SGA. They're just students on the committee. You should know, like the Office of Student Involvement is not SGA. We're just their like administrator. And I do a lot of work for you now. So they had their first meeting for the fall on Monday, and we looked through a lot of budgets. And we just kind of noticed a lot of them kind of were missing some things, and student organizations weren't getting full funding because of these kind of common errors. So I just wanted to point those out that the first thing is that you must submit your budgets a minimum of 4 weeks before your need by date. I know that's tough, but the SABC only meets every other week, and then we got to figure out payment. So for example, if you want money for trunk or treat, which is October 28th, you got to think backwards 4 weeks. And I believe 4 weeks would be September 30th, which is in a couple weeks. So I know it kind of takes some planning. Whenever I meet with student organizations, I actually encourage them to like sit down at the beginning of the semester or even like a few weeks prior to the semester and kind of plan out their programs just to get those budget requests in as early as possible. So it must be 4 weeks. 4 weeks is kind of if you don't have 4 weeks, you don't even get reviewed. So that's that's an easy one to get you kicked out. And that's like, but you're so close. But we have to have, a deadline for that. Also something we noticed is a lot of groups weren't having itemized requests. They were just submitting like $200 for food. Well, the SABC needs, here's my cart screenshot from Sodexo where it says 15 taco bar people, and here's the total. Or here's my screenshot from Walmart for the chips and the apple juice that I'm gonna buy. It has to be itemized. So that's an easy thing that kind of student groups got, well, we can't allocate money to that. And then be specific and thorough. We get a lot of requests. I think like Zach mentioned, we reviewed like 25 or 30 on Monday, which is a lot. And if you don't submit a purpose for your event or a description, and some of these groups are asking for a lot of money. So please like include all of that. Act like these students don't know anything about your event, which sometimes is true. So please, like the more info, the better. That's kind of I like to submit like everything, so you cannot deny me. So please just be like as thorough as possible. So those are just a few tips that the committee put together that were like, here's kind of what we're seeing. I just took over managing SABC this semester. Michaela Wells was the previous coordinator who handled that. And I am happy if your exec board is just like, what? I can meet with your group. I can meet with you. I can send you resources. Because we're really trying to be more like, I want people to know how to get this money. So y'all haven't had a problem spending it, but yeah. How to fill out a budget request? Can you rephrase that really quick? I'm sorry. Are you wondering how to submit a budget request? Good question. So if you want to follow up with me after this, I'll send you a video and then we can kind of meet and walk through it. Just because I think I'm already like using up more time than I'm supposed to, but maybe another meeting that actually might be a good thing to like show you all. So.
This quarter, very like how they feel.
I think we need to touch base. Let's sidebar after this. I'm not fully understanding your question. So anything else before I move on really quick about SABC? So again, I'm not SABC. I'm just their secretary, basically. And then lastly, the Office of Student Involvement is hiring a student program manager. If any of you have met Elijah McCoy, he's our new coordinator of student activities. He started right before school started, so he was, hey, here you are, do all these events for us. Thank you. He's the student activities coordinator, so he is the new advisor for University Programming Board. He'll oversee the homecoming committee. He'll do welcome bash. Thankfully, he'll take that off my plate. And all those things. So he's kind of looking for an individual student to be his student program manager. So if you're interested, I should have put his email up here. I will find it for you. But if you just want to shoot him an email, the initial deadline was today, but I think he's extending it. So if you've ever wanted to work in the OSI, there is a position open and it's $12 an hour. So any questions? All right. Thanks for giving me some time.
Perfect. I open the floor to anybody who would like to bring up new business. Yes.
So I know that we had talked about this in like our senator meetings prior, but just like one of my passion projects that I would like to kind of bring attention to, I guess, would be I want to change like the use of like styrofoam in our dining halls to something more sustainable, like any other material. Styrofoam is about as bad as it gets. So I wanted to see, and then I was going to talk to some of sustainability and see if we could get their support and like sponsorship for that.
Yeah, kind of, also bringing up a passion project as well as senators know, I'm really passionate about bringing awareness to the new tuition system that also has adopted, but also the new system as a whole. Essentially, it is a very simplified tuition plan that is supposed to be more transparent. All this information is available on UMSL website under tuition fees. It explains the student plan. And whether you agree with it or disagree, I think that all students need to understand how their tuition has changed. Some might have decreased, some might have increased. It's important to know how yours has been affected. I've been networking with a lot of students and talking to see if they knew about this tuition change, and the general consensus actually basically, right there, I say, had no idea. So I think that as the student government, we should be raising awareness to this tuition just to make sure students understand transparency that the school is trying to give from tuition to themselves and what they have to pay.
And you have an event coming up for that, right? Do you want to mention that?
Yeah, so SGA, ASUM, and a bunch of other student organizations, they're all coming together October 2nd to have an event. It's informational, and it's just over this new tuition system, how it was adopted and why, and also just the main majors that are being affected. I reached out to Max. You want to talk about that part?
Yes, so we are in contact with JLP, and what's gonna happen, unfortunately, JLP is actually sick. So there's a little bit of a delay in the response. That's why I haven't gotten back as fast. And that goes out to you as well, and Allie. But that process that we're gonna work on is going to be a committee. It would probably be a subcommittee realistically, like we've done at the other UM schools. But the hope is that we can actually get some representation from faculty and student body of how we can address this issue, and then we can move it to maybe have that change in for the UM I'm sorry, not the UM system, for others.
Yeah, but the most important thing is just making sure that students understand that there was a tuition change. That's like the main goal, is raising awareness for the new system. And yeah, just as a senator, even just as a student, I think it's really important that we talk to each other, make sure that we know this new system. That's why I'm passionate about it.
Do you have a time on makers?
Yeah, we do. It is October 2nd at maybe
12 to 1, I guess.
I said it's October 2nd and it is it's in MSC Chambers, the MSC 3. No, not Chambers, MSC Century Room C. And I think it's from 1 to 2.
But this is on Triton Connect. All of the information is available there. And there will be food. Zach, I need to talk to you about this, but besides the way. But yeah, I really encourage everyone to go, just to understand it a little bit better. We'll be breaking it down. And we have, on another organization side, talked to some people from financial services, and we've had someone agree to come and speak about it from the financial services point of view. So you get to kind of hear their thought process and break it down a lot better than I probably could. So, sure.
You can, yeah, the event is on Try Connect. Yes. Say that again.
Said bowling events.
Bowling events. I don't know of any bowling events. Why are you asking for a bowling event? Or are you saying there is a bowling event on Try Connect? There are, yeah. Okay, we'll talk after this meeting about that. Yeah.
I have a question for bring us up. I know this is open-ended question. What was not transparent about like previous systems for tuition? Or I know that would be like, I'm sure you could write a dissertation on.
Yeah, so basically, as far as the UMSL website kind of explains, is that it just simplifies it, so it takes away additional fees and just tax that into the majors payment. So basically, some majors, they because of this, they're going to pay different amounts than other majors. So people in STEM courses and those programs are going to have a little bit higher tuition. And they're just kind of now simplifying that down. And like I said, all this information is available on the UMSL website. If you search up UMSL tuition and fees, it's available. It's not put into really great detail. That's why we're happy to vent about it. But definitely check it out. And then I also recommend checking out your financial aid every semester. I know that for some students, due to networking with them, their financial aid has changed because of the system. So just making sure you know how much you're receiving from the school and how much you're paying is really, really important.
So I attended a small two art thing that I'd like to mention. I did receive an email from professors that stated able to save a partnership student organization that supports students with disabilities and suggest written other students wanting to serve leadership roles. If you're willing to serve any position, contact Leanne Heisman. And without committed leadership to the organization. And so that is a major concern. But also I want to say, going back to how particularly what is your name, sir? Very tall one that came and spoke about, yes, Josiah. Josiah brought up a point about in-person classes. How there's only one. What I have found as I'm a representative of the SLS, however, if you have some learning issues, and so with that, I noticed that professors who are running an online course are not as prepared to work with students that have certain learning disabilities or need certain like other accommodations. And so I don't know if it really did my Spanish course last semester. And so I would like to propose that maybe we worked with the disability office and maybe have someone who were able to train or work with professors in a way that could kind of help them accommodate students that need case pursue. Could you say the name of the organization? Yes, able to say. And could you also say the name of the person who should be contacted if interested? Yes, and it's spelled L-E-I-G-H-A-M-N-E, and then Heisel, H-E-I-S-E. it's able to stay in partnership. But that's just, it's a concern. I had two professors this semester who kind of said, well, this is an online course, you shouldn't be okay. And it's like, well, just running into whether it's maybe things to map out speak the office hours, something like that. But how does it your disability TS the part of be able to kind of work with the professors so that they can think about this.
Yes, definitely. If you want to stay after the meeting and we can talk more directly about this, that would be perfect. Yes. Yeah, you can be dismissed. All right, anything else? Otherwise, I will move to adjourn this message. Do I have a
Nay. Well, you got a second.
yes, do we have a second?
Very good. Second.
Okay.
You don't want this to be adjourned?
Well, first you have.
I'll be outvoted.
So do we have a second to adjourn this meeting?
Second.
All in favor.
All in favor say A.
A.
Not in favor say nay.
Nay.
I feel like you got outvoted, so I will adjourn this meeting. Thank you guys for coming. Our next meeting is on October 13th. Same meeting, same time, same place. And again, our contact information is here, and our office is in the Office of Student Development. All right. Thank you, everybody, for coming.